Welcome back to my channel. So kung bago ka lang sa channel ko, don't forget to subscribe for more math tutorial videos. Okay, so for today, we will be graphing linear equations into variables. So there are four different ways for you to graph linear equations. First, if you are given a pair of points. Second, if you're given the x and y intercepts. Third, if you're given a slope and a point on the line. And fourth, if you're given the slope and y-intercept. So let's start with the first way. Okay, so this is easy because you just have to plot those points. So for example, you are given 2, -1, and 0. No, let's say not 0. Let's say 3 and 1. So what you're going to do is to plot those points in the Cartesian plane. That's easy. So if this is your x and your y-axis, so you plot 2, -1, so positive 2 with x. So x here, we have here 1, 2. Then -1 kay y, so we have -1. So kung saan yung intersection ng dalawang units, nandun po yung point. Now, 3, 1. So 3 kay x, so this is 1, 2, then 3. Then you put 1 unit in here, kasi positive. So, nandito si 3, 1. So, you just connect the two. So, with this, meron ka ng line for the linear equation. Okay. After, if you're given 2 points, let us now proceed with if you're given the x and y intercepts. Or using x and y intercepts. Graphing linear equations using x and y intercepts. Okay. So, that will be number 2. If you're given x and y intercepts. So, for example, what are intercepts? Intercepts are those points in which the line will pass through in the x and y axis. So, for the x-intercept, it is where the line will pass through in the x-axis. Whereas in the y-intercept, this is the y value in which the line will pass through in the y-axis. So, for example, you are given x plus 5y equals 5. This is your equation of the line. Now, if you are to graph this using x and y intercepts, what you're going to do first is to have a table of values. So, in the table of values, you can have here the values of x and the values for y. Okay, so when I say x-intercept, the ordered pair must be x then 0. Because since this is a point where the line will pass, will the line pass through the x-axis, your x or the abscissa must have the value aside from 0. If you are intended to get the y-intercept, then your ordinate must be the one with the value aside from 0. Okay, so to get the x-intercept, your y is 0. To get your y-intercept, your x is 0. So what will be the value for x here if your y is 0? So let us compute. If your y is 0, so you use the equation. So since your y here has a numerical coefficient of 5, you will multiply the 2. So here you copy x plus 5, and then we put parentheses for the value for the variable. So your y is 0, so that will be 0 times 5. 0 times 5. So x plus 0 is equal to 5. Then x plus 0 is x, then 5. The value for x is 5. So, yun po yung ilalagay natin dito. Now, if your x now is 0, what will be the value for y? So, if that is the case, your x now is 0, so this will be 0. 0 plus 5y equals 5. So, 0 plus 5y is simply 5y is equal to 5. Now, if you have a number or numerical coefficient before the variable, you have to eliminate that to get the value of the variable. So, kung ano man po yung value na nandito, dun mo po sila i-divide both sides. So, cancelled out, y is equal to 5 divided by 5 is 1. So, your value for y is 1. Now, having the table of values, that's the time that you will create ordered pairs. Okay? So, remember, when you are to get the ordered pairs, you have a value for x and a value for y. So, for the pair, we have 5, 0. And for this, we have 0, 1. So, ito yung ipa-plot po natin. So, ito yung x, ito yung y. So, 5, ito yung value kay x, so 5 kay x. So, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, nandito siya. Nasa x-axis mismo. Kasi 0 naman yung y mo. Now, for this point, we have 0, 1. Si y yung may value. So, positive 1. So, nandito siya. So, ito naman yung second point. Then, you just have to put the line there. So, that's graphing linear equation given the x and y intercepts. Okay, next. What if you're given the slope and a point on the line? So, that will be our number 3. You're given the slope and a point. So, let us say that your slope is negative 2 over 3. And your point must be an ordered pair. Let us say negative 1, 1. So, what you're going to do is to plot that point in the Cartesian plane. So, negative 1, 1. So, let's put this here. So, this is your x-axis and then your y-axis. You plot this point. Negative 1 kay x, positive 1 kay y. So, that will be negative 1 kay x, then positive 1 kay y. So, nandito yung ating starting point. Now, using your slope, okay, your numerator in the slope will tell you whether you go up or you go down. If that is negative, therefore you have to go down from the starting point. If that is positive, or if this is positive, you go up from the starting point. Your denominator will tell you whether you go right or you go left. Okay? So if this is positive, you go to the right. If this is negative, you go to the left. Okay. So, since this is negative, therefore you go down. This is positive, therefore you go to the right. Okay, so from the starting point, so let us have units here. Okay, so from the starting point, you have to go down 2 times or 2 units. So that will be 1. First unit is here, 1. Then you go down another unit. When I say unit, that's the bar here. Okay, so this is your first bar, this is your second bar. So this is where you stop from 2 units going down. So from this point, you go down 2 times. And then from this point, you go 3 times to the right. So 1 unit, 2 units, then 3 units. So your second point will be located there. So that will be here. Because from here you go 3 units to the right, so that will be 1, 2, then 3. Okay, next. So with that, we will be able to have this line. Okay, so for the last part, if you are given the slope and the y-intercept. So that will be the last part. Number 4, slope and y-intercept. So if you're going to look back, our slope is m and the y-intercept is b. So these variables or terms are located in the slope-intercept form. So that is y is equal to mx plus b. Okay, so if this is the case, if this is the form of the equation already, then you identify the slope, and then this is your y-intercept. Your y-intercept will tell you on what part of the y-axis the line will pass through. So for example, you are given 3x, let's say 3x plus y is equal to 1. So what you're going to do is to make this in standard form, in slope intercept form. So you will transpose this to the right. So that will be y is equal to negative 3x. The sign will change. Then positive 1. So plus 1. In here, your slope is negative 3. The number before x. And then your y-intercept is positive 1. Now, you will plot the points. This given, this will signify on what value in the y-axis your first point will be located. So this is positive 1, so that will be here. So this will be your first point. It means that the line will pass through at this point. Okay, now, your slope is negative 3. So if you want this in fraction form, that will be over 1. So meaning to say, you go down 3 times, then you go 1 to the right. Okay, so let's put units here. So you go 3 times downward, so that will be 1, 2, 3. And then 1 unit to the right, that will be here. So your next point is here. So your line looks like this. So that's how we graph linear equations into variables.